Welcome to Rocket Talk, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything that interests us at the moments. Thanks for tuning in to our first official episode. I am joined by my fellow hosts.
I'm Johnny.
And I'm Connor.
And yeah, like I said, welcome to our first episode. In our debut episode, we're going to be hitting some of the games and movies that are exciting us for 2020. But first, I want to go introduce one of our regular segments that we're going to have planned for this podcast. It's just going to be kind of a thing where we go and talk about some of the things we've been doing recently. So, what are some games you guys have been playing? And then on top of that, what's been your guys' gamer fuel? How about you start, Connor?
Oh, gamer fuel. So the games I've been playing right now are some of the games that I've been having on my shelf that have been collecting dust that have gone unfinished. I actually just finished up Batman Arkham Asylum, and then from there I picked up Fallout New Vegas. I'm actually really struggling with it right now. But as far as game fuel, beer and lots of it.
Of course, yeah. So I don't know. I've never really played either of those. I've played Spider-Man, 2018 Spider-Man made by Insomniac, which is very similar to the Arkham games, but yeah, I've never really played either of those. How are you liking so far?
They're good. Great, actually. I would say Batman holds up as a better game. The Arkham Asylum one specifically holds up as a better game when stacked against Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas visually is just repulsive. It does not look good. I get that it's 10 years old, but Batman Arkham Asylum is I want to say almost 10 years old, if not getting there, and it still looks visually stunning for the time, and I would say still kind of compared to today's standards, but I would say the flow of Arkham Asylum is much better than New
but part of that has to come with, since Fallout, since it's open world, they do have to kind of, if they want to have open world where everything doesn't pop in like it did in old Nintendo 64 games and stuff like that, you need to kind of scale back the graphics. So even though the game came out 2 or 3 years in the life of the PS3, Xbox 360, it looks closer to a PS2 original Xbox because they had to scale back some graphics so they can load in the textures of the environments. But
absolutely fair argument, very fair.
Anything else really? Like, have you been watching any TV shows or listening to any music, since you're a big music guy too?
Yes, TV shows. I've been watching King of the Hill and F is for Family, two polar opposite family dynamics. And for music, that's, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to begin. Iron Maiden. I'm on the second album of theirs, Killers. I started off with Iron Maiden, and it's just absolutely amazing. Bruce Dickinson's not in it just yet. It's Paul Diani, I want to say is his name. He still sounds good, but he doesn't have the high operatic vocal style like Bruce Dickinson. But I'm absolutely loving it.
Man, so when I hear Iron Maiden, I always think of the old Tony Hawk games. I don't know how much of those you played, but Tony Hawk 4, because each of the originals had random guest unlockable characters, and so Tony Hawk 4, it was, I want to say Dave Muir. It was either a surfer or a BMXer to promote the other games that Activision was making. It was one of them, and then it was Daisy Duke from Dukes of Hazzards. And of course, since it was mid 2000s, it was unrealistic boob physics whenever she would do anything.
Yep.
And then it was Jango Fett from Star Wars and Eddie, the Iron Maiden mascot, the guy who's on the covers.
Yes!
So you could do stuff with Eddie. So his special tricks, he would shred and this and that. It was so funny because it's just that's a very eclectic group. But
awesome.
Yeah, every time I think of Iron Maiden, that's what I think of.
What was that? Did you ever play that snowboarding game SSX?
I did not, but
oh gosh,
I do know that it was a pretty big fan favorite as well. Just like those, that early 2000s, everyone played SSX, 1080, Tony Hawk.
Yeah, those outdoor extreme sports kind of thing was really in. I'd even say I'd play SSX to this day if I could. I think I still have it on the GameCube.
There you go. And then what about you, Johnny? Has there been any big games you've been playing recently or TV shows?
Yeah, for games, I've been playing. I finally beat Pokemon Shield. I talked to you guys recently, and I was telling you that I hadn't picked it up in a while. I beat like 6 or so gyms, and then I didn't get really anywhere. Then on like this most recent Sunday, I beat 2 gyms, beat the 7th and 8th one like back to back, and then I called it a night, and then I the next night I no big deal, beat the champion in all of Galar region. So I'm essentially #1 Pokemon trainer of all of the entire region.
Proud of you.
Yeah. Basically means that I'm the best in the whole world, because nobody else has done that ever. Definitely not everybody has played it, but no, I beat Pokemon Shield. I caught the legendary, and I've that's really all I need to do. I see a lot of people online that post about how they completed their Pokedex. They're like, "Oh, I've caught all like 400 Pokemon in like 50 or so hours," and I'm like, "Great for wasting your time on a game that's been out for like 2 months. I'm gonna just beat everybody and then call it a day." Because I have so many games like that I need to beat on my list that I never really cared about catching them all. I'm not. I want to be the best like no one ever was. But I don't
Gotta
care much
catch
about.
enough.
You gotta catch enough to be the best there ever was. Like no one ever was. So yeah.
I'm curious, what's on your shelf right now that's gone uncompleted as far as video games?
Surprisingly, this will probably shock both of you, but Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair.
Is it that impossible?
It is that impossible. I don't know if you know anything about it, Luke, but it's basically like the Impossible Lair is the first level that you get to go to, and then you beat all these other levels, and they give you a B, and basically the B is your hit points in the Impossible Lair. So every level that you beat in the game counts towards making the Impossible Lair that much easier. And I think you get like 48 Bs, which means you can get 48 hits in the Impossible Lair, and 48 Bs is not near enough.
Oh my god.
It is so hard. I am like, I've been playing platformer games since I was a baby, and I can't beat the Impossible Lair. I don't know. I know it's called the Impossible Lair, but I figured with 48 Bs and my 25 years of playing video games, I thought that I would have a chance, and I do not. It is a difficult level.
To make it go from the impossible to the improbable.
Yeah, it is. It's so difficult, and it's so beyond my, like, there's never been, technically there's never been a level that I've ever faced that's been as difficult as this one, because it just gives you absolutely nothing, which I love. I'm not complaining. I love the game, but it gives you nothing other than that help. Like after that, it's kind of like, okay, you're on your own. If you can't do it with these 48 Bs, you're going to need to keep practicing and keep dying until you figure it out. And that's a new concept that I have not seen really ever. The closest thing is actually in Breath of the Wild, where you can go to Ganon right away if you want.
It's not a good idea because you don't have anything really to.
Yeah, you shouldn't, but you could if you wanted to. But the way that Yooka-Laylee does it is similar to that. So I love the game. I've been so like frustrated by not being able to beat it that I kind of like let it sit on my shelf for a while. And I've gotten all of the levels. I've got all the Bs, like I said. I haven't gotten all the coins that you can find in each level, but those aren't really that necessary. But the Impossible Lair is the only thing that I haven't done yet, and it's just waiting there, taunting me.
So when you're putting on the shelf and it's just being way too frustrating and taunting you, what else are you doing at the moment? Like what's your current binge right now on Netflix?
Well, the most recent show I can think of that I've binged is You, season 2 on Netflix, about a stalker. A guy that falls in love with somebody, apparently different every season, and it's from his perspective. So you hear his inside in like in his own thoughts, and you hear his perspective on like how the rest of the world is bad, but he's the only one who's like good, or also the girl that he's interested in is the only thing that's good in the world, and it's really interesting to see him do all these terrible things, but he always justifies it, not in a way that makes you think like, oh yeah, you're right, that's justifiable, but it's so creepy that you're just like, no, stop thinking you're all that, because you're not. Like, and it's bonkers. It's such a weird show. The things he does, he follows girls, like not girls, but this one girl from I believe the train station to her apartment, and then watches her undress from outside her apartment, and just like,
that's a little weird.
enjoys himself, I'll say, for the lack of any other term I want to use, but has a good time out on the street while he's looking inside.
Gotcha. That's in the first episode. I watched the pilot episode based on recommendation, and that's in the very first episode, along with bludgeoning a man's head.
Yeah, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, it's an amazing show, but it doesn't get any less tame, I should say.
Gosh,
interesting.
Yeah.
I guess for
me, what are you doing right now?
Yeah. So for me, the biggest one, I kind of mentioned to you guys too, but I bought Mario Odyssey back on Black Friday. Yeah, I was, because I got my Switch back in March, and I've slowly been kind of building games to get for it, and that was one where after I had a good chunk of Mario Maker 2 done, I was like, I think Odyssey's the next one I want to play, and so I did that, and so I ended up beating it right around Christmas time, and beating Bowser, I should say, because now I'm on the part of collecting more moons. I ended up beating story mode with about 400, because I would stay in each kingdom, and I would get basically as many as I could without having to beat the story to get the moon rocks, or just some of the ones that don't open up until you beat the story. So like there'd be ones that I had 20-30 moons on a kingdom at a time, and I got all the purple coins and all that. So by the time that I was done with Bowser, now it's just mainly getting coins for the costumes and now getting all the moons. But that game has been a lot of fun. I've had a ton of fun with it. It's been great.
It's amazing the flow of that game, despite there being so much, like it being so chock full of shit, and it's still like it still has a kind of flow to it.
Yeah, and it's just wild because it's not as non-linear as like a Breath of the Wild or like Ukulele, but just like, yeah, you get in there and like you just have to get, a handful of moons, and then you can go on. Like you can go and beat it, with only like 100 and something moons when you beat Bowser. But if you want to keep going, you can. So like I've been having a ton of fun with that. And then actually, a little more recently, so on PlayStation with their online service, PlayStation Plus, you have a thing where you get two free games every month. So as long as you have Plus, you can play these free games. And so last month, I want to say, was Titanfall 2. It's the same developers who made the original Call of Duty 1, 2, and Modern Warfare, and Modern Warfare 2. So when they were all at Infinity Ward, there was a legal dispute, and the two founders got let go, and there was a legal battle. But basically, when they got let go, like half Infinity Ward left. Most of them went to form a new company called Respawn Entertainment, and so they've put out now 4 games: Titanfall 1 and 2, Apex Legends, which is a Battle Royale spinoff, and then they just put out a Star Wars game that I'm going to be getting eventually. But I've been playing that because what's fun is you can tell it is the same developers who made Call of Duty, because I don't know how much shooters you guys have played in your lives, but one of the things that makes Call of Duty so popular is how fluid the gun control feels, even compared to Battlefield or other first-person shooters. They don't have that same fluidity that you have with Call of Duty, but Titanfall has some of that, and then it mixes in. It's a sci-fi game where you have jetpacks, and then your goal is to get enough kills, objective points, and this and that to get your Titan. So it's this big mech that'll come in, and it's just like a super overpowered robot that you have like a grenade launcher or a cannon or this or that. So it does a lot of stuff like that. So I've been doing that.
I was doing a little bit of research on that, and I know that Titanfall 1 is like super critically acclaimed, won like 60 awards or something like that. And then Titanfall 2, I heard, wasn't quite as popular, but the multiplayer is like way better.
Yeah, so I never played Titanfall 1 because actually Microsoft signed a deal with Respawn when it came out, right before it came out. So Titanfall is a Microsoft exclusive. You can only play it on PC and then Xbox 360 and Xbox One. So you can only play it on those. And so I never got to play it. And but yeah, I've only been playing for a few hours with our friend Blake, but it's been a ton of fun because there's like we've only been playing on one playlist and it's one small map, but there's a campaign mode on this one too, so I'm gonna do it. But yeah, like the second game, as far as I know, had really good acclaim as well, but it kind of underperformed commercially, especially because it was released at the same time as a new Battlefield, and even though and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, which is one of the lesser popular Call of Duties, but Call of Duty like also will release a less popular game and it'll still be one of the top released games of the year. So
Yeah.
it just came out in a crowded year. Just kind of like too when people have their game of the year discussions for last decade and they got to 2017 and it was just like, well, which one do I pick out of all these masterpieces? And then besides that, I did watch all the Star Wars movies before I saw the last one, and Mandalorian and all that, which that was a lot of fun. I ended up watching all of the movies in like a week and a half.
Jesus.
But then one of the things I got for Christmas was this book. It's called Console Wars. It's by Blake J. Harris. It's a pretty awesome read. I haven't read as much the last couple days, but basically it's about the console wars in the 90s between Sega and Nintendo. So I'm only about 100 pages out of 500, but I definitely recommend it. Because there's things that I knew a lot about their little console war, but there's things that I've learned a lot more about just from the first 100 pages of the book.
Do you know how far ahead how far up to date he's gonna get, or is it just about the 80s
I
and
want
90s?
it's
80s.
gonna be, well, the book came out 6 years ago now, but I want to say it's gonna go up to around the downfall of the Dreamcast. So I want to say it starts around 1989, 1990, and then it's going to end around 2001-ish. Because there's like in the middle of the book, like it seems like all other nonfiction books, there's a set of photos that show you, so you can see the photos of the people you're reading about. Because what's cool about the book is, so it mainly is telling it through the eyes of Tom Kalinske, who was the president of Sega of America during the main brunt of the console wars. And so you have it through a kid's eyes, and it tells it like a novel. Like there's dialogue that may not have been fully accurate to what was actually said. So there's sometimes it's a little cheesy, but it flows like a story. And so you're seeing when Kalinske got to Sega and had to deal with the fact that Nintendo at that point had like a 90% share of the market, and some of the things that they did to try to get in. Like one of the early things they do is he went to Walmart's headquarters to try to get Walmart to start carrying Genesis stuff, because Walmart sold a lot of Nintendo stuff and Sega needed to get into that market if they wanted to succeed. So yeah, it's been awesome. I'm definitely going to try to read it more, especially now that football's winding down. So that's really about all I've been doing.
But another thing that I know that we all wanted to do is collect a list of things that we want to see coming up this year. So now that we're a couple of weeks into 2020, I want to know what is on everyone's list. What is on everyone's watch list for movies coming out this year? Luke, let's start with you.
Movies. All right. So for movies, really there's about two that I'm really looking forward to. And then there's another couple I'm excited about. Probably my most anticipated movie is Tenet. It's the new Christopher Nolan movie.
Oh, yes.
We don't know too much about it yet, other than it looks like it's going to be Inception-y, like how Inception was like all about dreams and like this crazy mind-bending dream stuff. This one looks like that, but with time. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer, but the trailer, I would definitely watch it after we record this episode. But basically, it does a lot of stuff with like reversing time and all that, and so you see them like jumping back from, it's it looks like it's going to be a mind fuck of a movie, like
Cool.
Inception was. And so I'm excited because, like I said in our little like intro episode, Christopher Nolan is my favorite director. I haven't seen his first couple movies, but everything from Batman Begins to Dunkirk, I love pretty much all of them. Like there's some of my like The Prestige is probably my favorite movie. Inception, and Interstellar are all up there too.
I haven't seen the trailer for this. I did, however, see a clip of Quentin Tarantino singing his praises, though, because right now he calls him the master of suspense, and he used Dunkirk as his point of reference. Like when they're on the beach, they're all lying, and they have to hit the beach because those planes are coming in. You can hear that coming in, and it just like it lasts a really, really long time, and then you have.
I mean, Dunkirk is basically an hour and a half panic attack. Like,
yes.
Like that, yes. That's just the best way to describe that movie. Like it's definitely interesting how he told the story because like it's one overarching story, but it's cut up in some pretty weird ways. But like, yeah, that movie is just like an hour and a half panic attack. It's ridiculous. But
absolutely,
yeah. So besides Tenet, the other one, as a big Sonic fan, I am looking forward, sort of looking forward to the Sonic movie. I don't know.
Well, now we just got it because they changed him for us.
Yeah, because that first design was nightmare inducing. Like in the Sonic community,
it'll be on the internet forever and forever.
That is true. But in the Sonic community, there's a one-off character from Sonic R, the Sega Saturn racing game. There's a Tails doll, so it's a racing game. It's not like Mario Kart or the new Sonic racing games or Crash Team Racing. Most of them race on foot, and they control like they're in tanks. But it's when you play the game, when you start it, you have access to Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and then you unlock Robotnik. But then later on, as you do more, you get Metal Sonic, Metal Knuckles, Egg Robo, and then there's a Tails doll. And like for some reason, that became a popular internet thing that it's like a possessed doll and all that. But so that's nightmare inducing.
His
now
arms and his limbs flap in the wind.
Yeah, pretty much because it's a ragdoll effect. But and now you have the old Sonic design that also is just as nightmare inducing. But that first trailer, it looks like one of those just like it's going to get 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. The second one was better. It's still probably going to get like 30 or 40% on Rotten Tomatoes. But I don't know. I think the best part about this movie is going to be Jim Carrey as Eggman because he's just going to be like slapstick 90s era Jim Carrey again, and like that's gonna be fun. But
does the movie earn a bit of your respect since they decided to fix Sonic?
Yes and no. Yes, because they did listen to the fans. They should have not done that design to begin with, but also they did delay it too and all this, but one of the studios that helped do that design, like just that crunch time they had was so bad. And actually, one of the studios had either closed or filed for bankruptcy.
Oh my god!
Visual effects studios, and it's a visual effects studio that did stuff with Sonic, I think Star Wars, Avenger, like a lot of big movies they've done visual effects with. But yeah, it was just kind of a bummer that they couldn't have had a good design to begin with. I guess there just was not a lack of cohesion between Sega and Paramount and just like the executives and all that, which is just too bad because like video game movies are always bad, and this was never going to be the first one that was going to be good, but it could have at least like helped get the ball rolling because the last couple have started to shift it to where they're still okay movies, but they're not just train wrecks like the Mario Brothers movie was or Mortal Kombat or all this or that.
What are you talking about? That's all classic cinema right there.
I think Detective Pikachu coming out is might have given everybody a false sense of hope when it comes to video game movies because that movie was amazing. I mean, for a video game movie, it was amazing. I think it was a decent movie as a movie, but as far as video game movies go, it was phenomenal. It was like with what you would expect from a video game movie, it was so good. And so I think the even with the redesign of Sonic in the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I still like they redesigned his appearance. They didn't change anything about us. Presumably, they didn't change anything about the actual movie itself. So I think what we see is what we're gonna get, and we shouldn't really expect anything. Like you said, Luke, like it might get a 30 or 40 on Rotten Tomatoes, but like I can't really expect it doing super well. But on the other side, I guess people thought that about Detective Pikachu 2, not about how ugly Pikachu was because he's adorable, but about like nobody knew how it was gonna do until they went to go see it. So you know,
I see all these calls to action online about having to go and support Sonic because they listen to the fans. Not necessarily that means that it's going to do well, like as a movie overall, like with its rating, but it will make its money back, and it will probably, honestly, if everyone shows up like they say they're going to, it's going to make a shitload of money, and probably regardless of how well regardless of how well it's rated, it's probably going to have a sequel.
I think it's important to note that like like you said, it's so important to keep in mind that they went through so much hard work to make Sonic look the way he was supposed to. But all that says to me is it was possible from the beginning.
True.
Yeah.
And
because this design for the like it's kind of that Detective Pikachu design where it you take the normal classic look you have of Sonic, and then you kind of give them a little bit more realistic look with their fur, and like that's really it. And like that's a good. I really like the design that they used for it, and then also not using Gangster's Paradise in the trailer helps as well. But yeah, I don't know. It's from the beginning I haven't been as excited. I'm excited because it is Sonic, but I was never like, oh, this is gonna make me so happy. It'll be fun to see what callbacks they have to the games, but
do you think it'll get a sequel?
Maybe. I wonder because in that first trailer they do show like right at the end they show where Jim Carrey is in like more of a classic Eggman look where he looks more like the modern design of Eggman where he has like his military jacket on and his goggles. So maybe maybe it's the start of the Smash universe, the Smash cinematic universe. You have Detective Pikachu, you have this.
Yeah, I would love that. I've seen some people talking about that, and there is a Mario movie coming out. So so I mean maybe this is the beginning that we see all the characters coming together. Everybody was so hyped up about Infinity War. If 10 years from now there's a Smash Bros movie after all these like individual, like a Metroid movie comes out and a Legend of Zelda movie comes out, like if they all come together for a Smash Bros movie, I will lose my mind. I don't know what I would do.
The Smash CU with 10 Fire Emblem movies.
Right. Yeah. It would take about that many for Sakurai to be happy with how much Fire Emblem representation it is. But...
Oh man! Speaking of that, so the Smash Direct just came out the day that recording this, and they announced the 5th and final character of the first Fighter Pass, and it's Blythe from Fire Emblem Three Houses. And this is nothing against anyone who likes Fire Emblem, but like that was such a disappointment for me. Like just because, so Sakurai is one that he doesn't follow trends. He does things his own way, this or that. But like the other 4 characters were third party, and like they had done reasons why they deserved to be there.
Yeah.
Persona 5, as someone who's never played the Persona series, Persona 5 is one of the more beloved, more recent games that I've heard of. Like it was up there in the game of the decade discussion. You had Hero with Dynasty Dragon Quest. My game's mixed up, but yeah, with Dynasty with Dragon Quest, which is like one of the bigger one of the bigger JRPG series. Banjo and Kazooie it was one of the most heavily requested characters in Smash since the original. And then you have in Terry, who, while Terry himself may have not been like a well-known thing, what SNK meant for the fighting genre, like he's a worthy inclusion. And then it's like, and Fire Emblem Three Houses is supposed to be a good game and all, but there's so many better options out there, I feel like, than an 8th Fire Emblem character and another swordsman.
Honestly, yeah, the fact that it's another swordsman is what really makes me so frustrated. Like Robin is from Fire Emblem, and he is like a wizard, and he has a lot of magic spells, and I'm like, that's cool, that's awesome. Do that. But there are characters in Fire Emblem. I've played one game, so I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of history on Fire Emblem, but I've seen characters on horses. I've seen characters that can fly. I've seen characters with they use primarily large spears. I've seen characters that use primarily bow and arrow. Like I've seen all these different kinds of characters, and they always stick with swordsmen. Like if you want to love Fire Emblem, please go ahead. And that's to the fans, that's to Sakurai, whatever. But why so many swordsmen? Like even outside of Fire Emblem, we have Link, we have Young Link, we have Toon Link, we have Meta Knight, we have all these swordsmen. 25% of Smash is probably my math that might not be correct, but 25% seems pretty close to the percentage of how many are swordsmen in Smash. Even Pit uses his bow and arrow as a sword, kind of. They all have their own there's so many
And you
swordsmen.
have
That's
the
the last thing
Mii
we
sword
need.
fighter.
Then we have the Mii sword fighter. Yep.
How many
Well,
different
and-
ways can you cut a boy?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently 8 as far as Fire Emblem is concerned.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too is just I get Fire Emblem is like big and important and all that too, but now Fire Emblem is one character away from tying the Mario series for the most characters. Because Mario, if you don't count Wario, Donkey Kong, and Yoshi, don't count because on when you select the characters, they have their little game icons.
Right. Their series symbol. Yeah.
Yeah, their series symbol, and so Yoshi has the egg, Wario has the W, Donkey Kong has the DK. So in Mario, you have 9 because you have Mario, Dr. Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Bowser, Bowser Jr., Rosalina, and Piranha Plant. And so but Mario makes Mario is the Mickey Mouse for Nintendo.
Yeah.
You slap anything on with Mario's face and it'll sell. And all that. And I get Fire Emblem sells well, but is Fire Emblem the second most important series in Nintendo that should be in Smash? No.
We haven't gotten a Legend of Zelda character in I want to say 2 Smash Brothers games since Brawl. Smash 4 didn't have one unless I'm mistaken. We haven't had a Legend of Zelda character in Smash 4 or in Smash Ultimate, which we might in the second Fighter Pass. But I mean, not that I don't necessarily think that deserves it more than Fire Emblem, but there's that one. There's DK. There's even Sonic. I mean, I know Sonic's not like Nintendo, but he's been in 3 Smashes now, and Tails isn't around yet. Come on.
Yeah, there's Tails, there's Knuckles. I mean, Shadow could be Echo Fighter.
Echo Fighter, yeah. Which
but
I have to say, in the first Fighters Pass, they said none of the characters will be Echo Fighters, but they did not say that this is the case for the second one. It's assumed, but it is not said outright. So Echo Fighters could be in the Fighters Pass, the second Fighters Pass. It's. I'm just saying it's not against anything they've said because they didn't say it wasn't. So keep that in mind.
Question for Sonic involved in Smash Bros. Is Chaos in any of the Smash Bros? Because I haven't played most of them.
No.
Just
So you can play
awesome.
you can play as Sonic, and then there is a Mii costume for Tails and Knuckles, and then Shadow and Knuckles are assist trophies, and a bunch of characters are spirits for World of Light. There's Eggman, there's Infinite, the Chaotix. All of them are all in there, but they're not their spirits are there. But,
Gotcha.
But
Where's
we kind
Big
of
the Cat? We need Big the Cat in Smash.
exactly. Big the Cat for Smash. His final Smash is he will fish for you.
You will fish for Froggy.
You'd have a pretty wicked body slam though.
That is true.
I think in Sonic Heroes he's got this mace on his
fishing
pole that he twists around. It's flaming. So that's actually pretty fucking badass.
Yeah.
In defense of Big the Cat.
Big the Cat for Smash. We're a pro Big the Cat podcast. I mean, we did get a little off topic there though, but I think we should go back to our movie discussion though, because I gave mine and then we kind of went on the Smash thing. But with movies, what about you, Johnny? Are there any big movies you're looking forward to?
I know one the first one that comes to mind is Wonder Woman. That
Yeah.
was I gotta say the first one wasn't I think it was definitely not a bad movie, but compared to what I expected and what everybody else said it was going to be, it just didn't live up to the hype for me.
It was solid until the third act. The third act is where it fell apart, but up until then, it was a fine movie.
Yeah, like I think it was a decent movie. I wasn't bored. I just wasn't like enthralled like I wanted to be. Um, but this one I'm hoping is much better. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe it's the first sequel that DC has had in their new universe. Because I wouldn't necessarily count BVS as a sequel to Superman. It's more like its own thing. If anything, it's the first Batman movie rather than the second Superman movie. I
Yeah, because
believe.
all of them, because BVS is sort of a sequel to Man of Steel, sort of a spin-off.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it's one of those where it's like you
it's kind of a
need,
hybrid.
yeah, it's like you
Yeah,
need Man of Steel to get to BVS, you need BVS to get to
Batman.
Justice League,
Yeah,
and then you just like how Birds of Prey, you need Suicide Squad to get to Birds of Prey, but Birds of
yeah,
Prey is not a sequel. So yeah, this is the
right.
first like direct sequel.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really glad that it's coming out sooner than I was expecting. And I'm kind of glad that she's the one that's going to get the first sequel because honestly, it makes sense to me because like there's a lot of confusion over what's going on with Batman and then even Superman. I mean, Henry Cavill has been on screen more as the Witcher at this point than he has as Superman. So like I don't think that I think he's kind of like I don't know. Has he officially said goodbye as Superman?
I've heard rumors that they're still looking for someone to play Superman, but I have not heard anything confirmed or denied. And we're getting absolutely nothing out of Henry.
Yeah. So but anyway, I'm excited to see Wonder Woman. It's going to be good. It's going to be really stupid how they bring back her love interest, whose name I can't remember, but because he's back now, even though he died a long time ago.
Steve.
Steve, yeah.
There's yet another Steve.
And
Played by
another
Chris,
Yep.
who
another
died
one
in
forward
the
to- yeah.
during the war.
And then time traveled to see his love again many years later. Yeah, I another one I'm really excited to see is you mentioned it actually is Birds of Prey. It's also in the DC universe. I'm starting to think that like with Aquaman and with Shazam that have already been out, that they're starting to kind of get an understanding of what people want and what people are excited about. I mean, and if you take apart or if you put aside Aquaman's love for explosions interrupting conversations, then then like that movie did a really great job. Shazam, though, I think is the best one that's come out so far. But anyway, Birds of Prey, it's going to be weird. It's going to be very weird, but it's going to be something really different and unique, and I'm looking forward to it. I like Harley Quinn probably more than not as a character, just like as this version of her. I like her more than like
You like Margot Robbie's Harley?
yeah, I like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. I don't really have anything for Harley Quinn as a character in general, but like the way that she portrayed it in the first one is not bad. So I'm excited to see how she does this time.
I think Margot Robbie is great as Harley. It's just interesting to see yet another team movie.
Yeah.
And I think they're introducing more characters in this. I wish that they would have introduction movies before they get to the team ones, but the hype for this movie is you can't deny it. So yeah, and it's got my money, that's for sure.
And I want to say, I watch everything, so there's not really a lot that I get too excited about because there's so much that I'm expecting that I just watch it when it comes out and then watch the next thing when it comes out. So there's very few movies that I'm really, really looking forward to because there's so many of them I couldn't possibly be excited about all of them. But those are the first ones that come to mind just because they're DC and I'm a big fan of DC. So
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully the 2020s is where DC is at.
They kind of find their stride. Well, I mean, if you kind of think about it too, the Marvel movies of the 2000s before the MCU, they kind of had some hits and some misses. They kind of stumbled a little bit, and then really it was with Iron Man that kind of really stabilized them. And then they had a couple more duds with the first Thor, the second Thor, Hulk, but they found their footing with the MCU, and now Marvel like is just a box office machine. So
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping that this one sets up kind of the same thing. I highly doubt it because they like Connor said, like nobody's really asking for another team movie. It's going to introduce a lot of characters with no backstories or not enough, and that's either going to spin it off into more movies that are side characters or whatever. Like Shazam was a great movie, don't get me wrong, but nobody asked for it. So,
That's true.
Like, but meanwhile, like nobody knows the status of Batman or Superman, and those are the two biggest, outside of Wonder Woman, they're the two biggest names, and we don't know what's going on there. So, you know,
exactly. What I really like how they, although I like the dark and gritty DC, when it works, it works. It really, really works. But in Justice League, they kind of went with the Marvel sense of humor, and I didn't think it worked too well. But then with Aquaman, they had a Saturday morning cartoon tonality to it, and I thought it at first it really bugged me because I was expecting something more serious. But then as soon as I took like a second look at it, really when Jeremy Johns kind of did his review for it, I thought, you know what, going back and looking at it with that kind of sense, it really worked. I thought if you look at it as a Saturday morning cartoon, but in an enormous budget movie setting, I think it really, really works, and that might be where they're trying to go from here on out.
yeah, maybe. I still haven't really seen much of the DC. What is it? DC Extended Universe? Is that what they call
Yes.
their? Yeah.
Unofficially.
So I do need to go and rewatch all of them, but it's just like. It's just like too when you go and rewatch all the MCU movies. Just watching some of those starts is just such a chore because you got to watch, like you got to get through some of the the sludge to get to like the more stability parts. But
like, who the hell even is the bad guy from Thor 2? Nobody remembers.
Yes,
nobody remembers. It was some white goblin thing played by Christopher Eccleston.
It's the fact that movie exists. That's the villain.
I saw it twice. I enjoyed it
because it's Johnny.
That's I don't know. I liked it when I first watched it the first couple times. Then I watched it again, and I was like, It's well, it just after like the first Avengers, like then they really didn't have too many duds after that, outside of like that and like Avengers 2.
Yeah, I will say that I liked it before I really knew, like, as I was right when I was starting to get into Marvel movies, and so then I rewatched everything to like catch myself up to it. But now that I've seen, now we're living in a Thor Ragnarok world, and we're like that movie come out, and that is miles ahead of Thor 2. Like Thor 3 is the best by far.
Oh, definitely.
So, I mean, like, it was good, I think, to me at the time, but if I rewatched it and then rewatched the third one, I'd have much more fun with the third one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, like, team movies, 1 and 2 of them, I think, works even better than solo films, even though, like, the first Iron Man is awesome, and I think those introductory movies can be great, but the dynamic duo between Hulk and Thor was was fantastic, especially with Black Widow and Captain America with
Winter Soldier.
Thank you, Winter Soldier. That was just, arguably one of the best Marvel movies out there.
Yeah,
which,
that's been one of the better things they've done these last couple of phases. Is that like a couple of them, like Ant-Man, they just had the cameo of Falcon, but like they've done it like Spider-Man: Homecoming. It's since it's a Spider-Man movie and it's also a new Iron Man movie too, because Tony Stark is such a big part of that story. Or Captain America 3 is sort of a Avengers 2.5 as well, because you have most of the main characters in there besides Hulk and all that, and then they introduced new ones as well. But
Black Panther,
yeah, I'm excited. I'm interested to see what they do, because I know Zemo, they're going to keep him around with the Disney Plus stuff, and after
that's so weird. All the stuff that they're doing with Disney Plus is like they've given us some explanations, but some of it's just like, how are you doing this? How are you pulling this off? Like, how is it gonna?
It's gonna be just like Zemo's plot to break up the Avengers. It's not gonna make sense, but it's somehow gonna work.
That's fair. Yeah.
And then I guess, Connor, what about you? Are there any particular movies you're looking forward to?
Yes, for the sake of time, I'll do the one that I'm really, 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 really looking forward to. And surprisingly enough, it's a January movie. It's 1917. I was gonna go see it tomorrow actually, but now we have a snow emergency declared statewide snow emergency for tomorrow, and I cannot go see it unfortunately. Yeah, so that's the the big one because apparently like the novelty of it being edited to look like a continuous shot wears off pretty quickly, and then all of a sudden now it's you are there with the team. I guess you're part of the team, and you are going to be that
You're part of the journey too.
yeah, you're part of the journey, but it never takes away from they don't use it as a crutch for the movie. It never takes away from the story. The story's the most compelling part, and I'm really looking forward to that one. Absolutely.
Interesting. And then let's quickly hit, I guess, a couple games we're looking forward to too. Here, I'll go first with mine. The biggest one I'm looking forward to is The Last of Us Part 2. The original Last of Us is one of my favorite games of all time. It's one of in my opinion, one of the greatest stories in any medium: book, video game, TV show, movie. It's incredible. It was nothing groundbreaking in terms of like its setting. It's your post-pandemic zombie-esque survival story. Where it's disease wipes out most of humanity. You have to survive. It's a lot of gray area, this and that, but just it was such strong writing and it's so emotional. And it's like one of those games that like I've only played through it 2 times because it's so good that I don't want to like burn myself out on it. So I'm going to play it again before the sequel comes out, and then I probably won't play it again for a few more years again. And then
I was going to ask, how much can you compare it to The Walking Dead, where you're fighting zombies, but also like I guess other camps, other clans?
Well, so I mean, I haven't watched too much of The Walking Dead, but it's it is kind of that similar thing where throughout the game you're fighting the infected, because what they have is it's based off of a real disease where it affects ants. Basically, it gets inside your bloodstream and you basically like have fungal outgrowth and
oh yes.
And
I know
so
exactly
what happens with the infected is eventually the fungus starts to grow outside of their cavities, and they just turn into their face gets deformed, they can't see, they have to use echolocation by clicking to move around, and they eventually just become one with the earth and then release their spores if they live long enough for that to happen. And so you fight the infected, which it's a lot more stealth, and you have to, some of them they can't see you, so you can kind of walk in front of them and don't make noises and stab them. Where then there's humans with the survivors, where they're more, they're watching areas, they have guns, they're more reckless. But it's because the whole plot of the game is you play as Joel, this gritty survivor who has done everything and anything to survive, and there's this young girl who got bit by an infected but hasn't turned, and so she might be the key to the cure, and so you're trying to escort her around. So it has a lot of I Am Legend, a lot of Walking Dead vibes to it, but it's incredible. And then 2 others that I'm excited about, well actually it's 3. Go back to platformers that we played growing up. There was one called Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. And that one is getting an HD port to the Switch and PlayStation in March. So I mean, I'll get that. It'll be fun. It'll be like $20.
When did that remaster come out? Like 2016, 2017?
Sometime around there. Yeah, it came out on the on Steam on the PC, and so they did a Kickstarter last fall. I know the Switch one too. The Joy-Con will be your boomerang, so you can shake them and then they'll throw the boomerang. So that'll be fun.
That's cool.
And then, of course, I'm excited about whatever the inevitable next Sonic and Crash Bandicoot games are.
Is it going to be an original Crash Bandicoot game, or are they going to be doing more remasters?
I think it's going to be an original, because people want Crash Bash remake, which is like it's sort of their Mario Party. It's mini games, but Crash Bash 1 was the first non-Naughty Dog game, so it's Crash Bash wasn't as good, and also like they would have to completely like reinvent the wheel for it. A Crash Bash remake would be fun as like a bonus with a new Crash game.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna get a brand new game or a Resident Evil 2 style remake where it's basically a brand new game of a previous one. Like they might remake Crash Insanity and like actually completely change all the mechanics around, but I think we're gonna get a brand new game. I'm just interested to what they do. Do they go like the original Crash game? Like do they go off of what Crash like 2 and 3 were, or do they kind of do more of a Mario Odyssey, Mario 64-esque Crash game?
In Mario Odyssey is in
like a mini sandbox. So like it's less linear. It's kind of how Crash Twinsanity was. That one there was bigger levels and it was a lot more like objective based things instead of A to B, collect all the boxes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that would be interesting as long as the physics work. That would be, and it's not so freaking frustrating. Then yeah, I'd be all about that. I'd be spending my money on it and actually completing it this one because I've not finished Insane Trilogy.
Well, those games are hard.
They're very, very hard. I always thought I just kind of sucked at it. I was like, well, it's been a while since I played video games, and everyone was complaining about it. I was like, okay, thank God it's not just me.
Yeah.
I still need to play, going back a little bit, I still need to play Last of Us #1 because I've never played it. And I didn't even know the Tasmanian Tiger was getting a remaster because I only heard about it for the first time ever recently, which is surprising because it's a game that seems like it'd be something that I'd be really into. And then... yeah, so I'm looking forward to everything you're looking forward to. Those are also like things.
Yeah, Tie's really fun because it's that collectathon type of thing. There's like in the first game I want to say like 18 levels, and then each level there's like 7 or 8 objectives you have to do in each one. You have to collect all of the currency. There's little because it's in Australia. There's like the rescue. There's like 5. I can't remember what the creatures are, but there's like 5 creatures that are hidden in every level. There's like a time trial. There's all this and all that. It's a lot of fun. And then as you play more, you get more and more boomerangs. Like one explodes, one you can throw multiple at a time, and all that. So yeah. Are there other games that you're looking forward to, Johnny, besides the ones I listed off?
Yeah. I'll start with the first thing I want to. Kind of something we touched on earlier is the Smash Bros. DLC. It's not a new game, but it is the new DLC that's going to be really big. I am excited about it because I love Smash Bros. But I gotta say, in a world where I have kind of everything that I've ever wanted in a Smash game with K. Rool and Banjo, actually, like those 2 things being really the only things I've ever wanted. My number 1 and number 2 pick being both in the game. I just can't be, even though I was just complaining about Fire Emblem, I really can't complain. Like I've got what I want. Anything at this point going forward is just going to be a plus. There's no way for it to be truly a negative for me. So if we get Sora, if we get Crash or Spyro or Geno or Shovel Knight or Bandana D, I mean, like I don't really care. I'll be happy, and I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with that because like. Outside of the new Fire Emblem character, the kind of the theme we had with these first 4 was kind of just celebrating gaming. Like, there's no Persona on the Switch outside of Joker, and I know there's some spin-offs coming now too. But like, but you have that, and
Banjo's not anywhere on the Switch either, which is really interesting. Like, I mean, it was originally Nintendo, but he's not on any Switch games, which is. Kind of goes to show how far Nintendo's come to be like, hey, like even our competitors deserve a chance to, you know,
and
even
so
though
that's
it's their game that they're selling, but you know, still.
I'm interested to see what happens, like because when like when it was rumored that we would probably get a Microsoft character, the 3 that everyone was always Banjo was one that everyone was naming. But since Microsoft owns the developer who made Minecraft, everyone said Minecraft Steve. People said Master Chief from Halo. You know, like those 2, if they want to continue on the route of having a lot of characters that deserve to be in it based off of what they mean to gaming, those are 2 slam dunk additions right there. And if they make them fun to play, sure, I'll play Minecraft Steve, and that'd be
I know it doesn't confirm or deconfirm a character by being a me costume, even though people think that that's a rule, which it's not a rule. There's a part of me that is a little disappointed to see Altair from Assassin's Creed as a me costume, not because I'm necessarily following that logic, but I don't know. I hope that he gets a chance, or some other Assassin's Creed character does get a chance to be in Smash, because I would love to see that. I would love to see Master Chief. Honestly, I would be disappointed if the Microsoft character was Master Chief over Banjo, but I would fully feel like he deserves it. But I would not feel like Minecraft Steve deserves it. I mean, like, okay, I don't know how like. I've never been a big fan of Halo or Minecraft, but I can definitely tell how Halo is more monumental. Minecraft has sold a lot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that like it's got a like. I don't know how to word it. Like Halo just has a bigger universe and a bigger. It's I don't know. I guess I in a sense I'm kind of
There's more
talking.
to sell. There's more to celebrate.
Yeah, in a
Yeah.
sense, I guess what I'm thinking about now is I might be talking in circles, but like I know that to celebrate gaming, you can't just celebrate one kind of gaming, but I just feel like Master Chief would deserve it more than Minecraft Steve. But anyway, I don't know who we're gonna get. Nobody knows. Not even a lot of Nintendo knows, apparently, according to Sakurai.
Sakurai knows.
Sakurai knows. Sakurai already knows, and he said to stop giving him ideas because he already has them picked. So the next game is a confirmed game. One of the very few Nintendo games that are confirmed for this year is Animal Crossing. And despite it being confirmed, it comes out in 2 months, and yet there's still very little information we have about it. But I'm still really excited because it's an Animal Crossing game, and with all like the things that are stressful in life, I think everybody deserves a chance to like chill for a sec. So I'm really looking forward to that, because it'll be the first game that I've played in a long time that won't be like, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's just kind of like, go catch a bug, go fishing.
Enjoy your day.
Yeah, go talk to an animal friend. It's like, okay, I will do that. Yeah, so that one's I'm really excited about it. I would highly recommend it to anybody that's, that loves to not be stressed. And then my last idea, or my last like wish, I guess, is another Donkey Kong game. I think most likely it's a Donkey Kong Country game. And nothing has been confirmed, nothing has been announced as far as any more DK coming out in 2020. But I would love to see another DKC game come out soon. If it's if it's like a collectathon like DK64 that comes out, that'd also be phenomenal, because we haven't had a DK collectathon since like in 21 years technically, so that would be great. But yeah, I would love. I mean, even DK Country, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze came out in early 2014. So that's been what, 7 years? So or 6 years. So it's been a long time coming. But I'm looking forward to hopefully the announcement of a DK game. Yeah, whenever we get our first Smash Direct, or our first Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, seriously, we know nothing.
We have a Pokemon Direct last Thursday. We had a Smash Direct today, but no Nintendo General Directs, which is like, everyone's like, "What's happening in 2020?" Nintendo's just like, "Nothing. Nothing's
No,
happening."
it's like you gotta wait and see. You'll just find out later. And it's just like, yeah, like we know, yeah, we're gonna get a Mario game of some sort. We know that we're gonna find out some sort of information about other series, but yeah, we know nothing outside of Animal Crossing, and then there was that remaster, the Tokyo Mirage Sessions, or
I don't.
Japanese
care
game
about.
that I don't. Yeah, but like there's like 3 Nintendo games that we knew about this year.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, like, then there's the DLC for Pokemon, the DLC for Smash, but that was only just announced, and that's only those 2 games, so that's nothing really. It's like Animal Crossing and yeah.
That's really about it.
That's it.
At least they said that Breath of the Wild 2 was going to come out in 2020.
They didn't. They said it was coming out.
Everyone says on I was reading all sorts of articles saying that it's slated for 2020, but it's going to get denied or pushed back.
It's not even confirmed for this year, but even if it is, it's not coming out this year. But nobody said it's coming out this year, and I highly doubt, if it hasn't been confirmed to come out this year, it won't be confirmed for this year. Like, I think that they would confirm it a year in advance at least for when their planned release date is. I think at this E3 in June in 6 months, then they'll be like, it'll come out in 2021 holiday season. Like that would make sense. But I highly doubt it's going to come out this year just because I know they know that the first one took so long from like when the first full trailer came out and the name was revealed to when like the game actually came out. It was almost 2 years. It was like a year and a half.
It was more than that. Well, because the game was supposed to come out.
2016.
No, that was 2015. I thought it was supposed to come out in 2015.
Oh no, yes, it was 2015. Yeah, I think the first trailer for like with the name of Breath of the Wild came out in 2015.
And then it got delayed to 2016, and then they just delayed it
to be
yes, for the Switch.
The Switch.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and just like Zelda games are notorious for delaying as well too. So
I just like it's not even kind of I don't think I'm being cynical. I'm just kind of not expecting Breath of the Wild for this year just because it's way too soon.
You're being more realistic. It's not cynical at all.
I just think that until we get a release date, or even any more information than we have, which we haven't had in 6 months, and I wasn't expecting anything for at least another year until this E3. But
Christ, with the impact that the first Breath of the Wild had, that they're going to want to take their time with this. They're going to want to for sure try to make it as perfect as possible, story and animation.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. It's how do you, with it being a direct sequel, how are you going to? As someone who hasn't played it too, like, what are you going to do with the open world? Like, how are you going to change it? Because if they just drop you in the open world, and they make, this place is now on fire. Like,
I think they got to take you out of Hyrule. They got to go to somewhere else because you can't space. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to have kind of like a pirate adventure somewhere between Breath of the Wild and Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay.
Or even somewhere that's like a weird Majora's Mask-esque game that's like Breath of the Wild and Majora's Mask together. Because Majora's Mask is one of the best Zelda games of all time, and it's slept on. It's slept on. No one talks about it.
It's one of the best, but no one talks about it.
Well, it's because it's not like it's a weird one, but it's just so good. Everyone knows, like true Zelda fans know that it's one of the best games. It's just like people can argue about how much Skyward Sword sucks or how Twilight Princess was, even though I think it's like one of the greatest, but how it might not be the best. So Ocarina of Time is phenomenal, but even people complain about that one. But Majora's Mask, not a lot to say bad about Majora's Mask. Everybody kind of likes Majora's Mask all around, so. Yeah, it's dark, it's scary, it's depressing, it's what everybody loves.
And Majora's Mask it's following the same that Breath of the Wild 2 would have, where since it came out on the same system and they kind of use a similar art style, they were able to release it only 2 years after the previous one, like this too. I mean, it'll be 3 by March, so it'll be probably 4 by the time the sequel comes out. But that is one thing that does help Breath of the Wild 2, or what it ends being called, is that it has all the assets of Breath of the Wild 1 to go off of, instead of them having to go, okay, well, we have this Zelda design we had in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, and now we're going to have this more Toon Link style with the Wind Waker, and then more of this darker style with Twilight Princess and all that. So
I think if they switched everything around to be the same assets, the same characters, the reason they did that for Majora's Mask was not out of like creativity or being like, oh, look at this cool thing we're doing. It's a time crunch, really. But like it worked very well, but I don't think that like they planned for it to work as well as they did. I think they were just kind of like, we'll do this thing and hope it works, and it like stuck the landing perfectly. But if they did that with Breath of the Wild 2, if they just took all the same characters and renamed them and said we're in a parallel universe, I think, and like changed the world up so it was like a completely different world, I don't think that would work. I don't think that would fly today. I don't think that like with all the things that they can be capable of, that Breath of the Wild 2 would be popular if they took all the same looking characters, renamed them, said they're in a different world, and just played it off as a pseudo Majora's Mask / Breath of the Wild. Like I don't think that would
space.
Go to space, bring in aliens. He doesn't ride a horse, he rides a robot.
Yes.
I love it.
Perfect. Yeah. Is there any games that you're really looking forward to then, Connor?
Well, it's another one that's been pushed off until allegedly March 2020. That's Ubisoft's
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft, Skull and Bones, which was announced in E3 in 2018, I believe, and has been delayed until allegedly March of this year. Hopefully, it comes out then. It's supposed to look and feel a lot like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but it's going to be it's going to be a pirate game, and it's going to be you take command of a ship, and you can customize the ship and stuff. You go and steal treasure and stuff like that. Apparently, and it's supposed to be multiplayer online and everything, so it's going to be. It looks amazing. I don't know if you've seen the trailer. I've shown you incessantly, but Luke, you have.
Yeah, because I remember because they put the trailer around the same time there was. Sea of Thieves. There's a Microsoft game.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yes,
that's the one that I confuse the two all the time because one of them was made. It's made by Rare, isn't it?
I think so.
Sea of Thieves, yeah.
Because it's a Microsoft. It's a Microsoft exclusive.
I think Banjo's in it. He's like on the top. He's on the front of one of the ships. He's like there's a statue bear with a backpack, and I think he has a bird. Yeah, I always mixed up Skull and Bones and Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
well, even like their promotional art are like the exact same too. Like the cover art is like people looking out of a skull like cave, and you see ships, and then Skull and Bones, it's ships, and then the clouds make a skull. So it's like, on top of them being pirate games, like
but the cinematic trailer is just unbelievable. It's fucking incredible. It looks like an actual movie and stuff. And I'm tired of this thing being freaking being put off for so long. Hopefully, it does actually come out when they say it's going to come out. If it doesn't, then I just will have to keep looking forward to it. But I'm definitely going to be signing up for the beta trial, and I'm going to be. It's got my money. I don't know. Do you guys have any interest in it?
Like I said, I confuse it with a game that I already was interested in. So if it's one that's not out yet, then it's probably even better. So I'd like to learn more about it because I love pirate aesthetic.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. I think I'm going to be trying to get more caught up on some of my backlog, and then instead of getting some new games outside of like a few main series, getting my money saved up because the new consoles will be coming out too. The PS5 and the Xbox Series X will be launching in in the holiday season. So I'll be saving up to get one of those.
Is the Xbox Series X the official name?
Yeah. Oh, so sort of. That's what they wanted to just call it Xbox, and like they're just
that's not confusing.
Well, I don't get Microsoft's naming ideas, but yeah. So it's they want to basically where it just Xbox just incorporates everything, but yeah, the new Xbox, and then the PS5, will be coming out. Oh, and especially because the PS5 is rumored to apparently have backwards compatibility to all PlayStation console games. Whoa. PS1, 2, 3, and 4, which if they were able to pull that off, that's incredible because the PS2, because the reason why we haven't had that is because PS3's hardware was just a behemoth of its own, and then their hardware and the PS2's hardware don't work well together. That's why only some PS3 games could play PS2. So it'd be nice because I don't have as much anymore, but I still have a chunk of PS2 and PS3 games at work that I just can't play because I don't have my PS3 or PS2 with me here in Atlanta.
So then is the new Xbox, is that is that an actual new console, or is that an upgrade from
it'll be a new console, even though these are their names. It's going to be we're at the point now where it's the in-house hardware is going to be crazy, and it's just going to be a little more like photorealism. It's not going to be like the jump we had from like PS1 to PS2, or like PlayStation 2 and GameCube to Xbox 360 and PS3. It's going to be because like the tail end of the PS3 and the early PS4 games, like they just are sharper, a little more detail, and that's kind of like what we're going to, like more photorealism, more better load times, this and that. But I'm interested to see what comes out of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, so much money I have to spend.
I know.
Like, this is not a want. This is a need.
Yeah, like that's why it is one where I'm going to be like, it's probably, unless they announce like a Sonic or Crash game for this year, I'll probably only really buy a few small things. Like maybe if they port like Mario 3D World over, I'll get that. Or if they put Sonic Adventure, well, if they put Sonic Adventure 2 on the Switch, I'll buy that day one. But but like stuff like that, where yeah, I might buy them, but I might more just save my money and then pick up more stuff on sale instead. But
I might actually buy whenever it comes out the new Xbox. I might consider buying it. I need to get a bigger place so I can like fit more systems in there, because I haven't even been able to play my Super Nintendo in a while. But I might consider buying the new Xbox, because I've always preferred that system over the PlayStation. Yeah, I don't know.
PlayStation sucks.
I loved Ratchet and Clank, but really, other than Ratchet and Clank, which I don't even think is around anymore.
It is sort of, yeah. They remade the first game for the movie.
That was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. But then Insomniac made Spider-Man, and that was a huge hit. So I don't know how much.
Well, so hopefully that comes back. But other than Ratchet and Clank, Xbox has been my like go-to.
I'll be buying it as well. So if you don't have a place to fit it in your apartment, you can always just come over to mine and play it here. Same with you, Luke.
Okay, perfect. Well, I do know too. The nice thing is if you don't have space right away, Microsoft's working on their streaming platform that you'd be able to probably, if you're probably able to play it on your laptop, where you could just pair your controller to it, and they'll probably get it to like what the Google one is too, where you only need like 15 megabits a second to be able to play most stuff at 1080p. So. But I think that really wraps it up, I think, for some games we're going to talk about. There's another segment that we're going to have in each episode, kind of a recommendation that one of us will give. So in it, Johnny is going to be the lucky one to go first. But in it, each week, whoever is the recommender will give the other two hosts homework for the week. It could be something like, hey, I want you guys to watch the pilot episode of this TV show. And then, or, hey, there's this demo for this new Nintendo game. I want you to play it. If it's one that we don't have the same systems, even just like, hey, go watch someone play the game on YouTube for about 20, 30 minutes. And then we're going to come back and discuss it in the next episode. So this one, we don't have our discussion of the previous week because we didn't have a previous episode. So why don't you kind of go and then give us our first recommendation then, Johnny, that Connor and I will be doing this week.
So my recommendation is it's called Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX Demo.
That is a long name.
Wow. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. And it is a Switch game. It's like I said, it's a demo version of a Switch game that I played when I was really young. The trailer said that it came out in 2006, so I would have been 12 years old when this game came out. And so it's a game that admittedly I forgot existed until they brought up that they're remaking it, and I was like, wow, this is taking back to literally half my age right now. And I was so long ago that I played it, and so many years have passed that it's kind of like a major throwback for me. I played it. I loved it. Basically, it's a game that you are a Pokemon, and you are greeted by another Pokemon, and you were transformed into a human, and you're not really sure who you were or why you became a Pokemon, but you just are one, and you go around and you try to help other Pokemon who are in need and who need your help. And it's a very feel good kind of game. It's very simple. It's very easy. But it's not really supposed to be a challenge. It's just supposed to be kind of something that's like cute and fun and kind of a softer game. So yeah, it's like I said, demo is free on Switch. Check it out. We'll discuss next week, or you guys. We'll all discuss what you guys thought about it, and yeah. Oh, and at the beginning of the game, there's like some like personality quiz, and basically you just answer the questions, and it'll assign you a Pokemon. So it's
Oh,
really
okay.
interesting to like find out like who this game in particular thinks
So it'd be
which
like,
Pokemon you would be.
depending on what you do, you'd be like, oh, well, you're a Squirtle, or you're a Charmander, or you're.
Yeah,
Okay,
and I
okay.
got Mudkip, which is the third generation water starter. He's a cute boy and deserves hugs.
Before we play this, who do you think we are before we even?
Well, I think Connor is Trico, and I think Luke is either a Charmander or a Totodile.
Totodile.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
All right, looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, that concludes our first official episode of Rocket Talk. This is kind of like what you guys can expect from each one. You'll have to definitely tune in next time to hear who I am in Pokemon and who Connor is.
Absolutely. If you guys like this, please don't forget to let us know what you want to hear from us. Let us know what Pokemon you guys end up being, and please tune in again next week.